The promise of forever began with a whisper, a promise between two hearts bound by time yet free from the constraints of mere existence. It was as if the universe itself had bent to the will of their love, acknowledging that this bond would outlast all things. They stood on the precipice of forever, their hands entwined, knowing that the path they walked together would not be easy, but it would be worth it. The winds of time howled around them, and yet they remained unmoved, their gaze fixed upon the horizon, where dreams met reality. They saw not the challenges that lay ahead, but the endless possibilities. In each other's eyes, they found not just love, but a promise, one that would stretch beyond the confines of a single lifetime, across generations, through worlds unknown, and even to the very fabric of the universe itself. They were ready to step into forever, knowing that their souls were bound to something greater than themselves. As they journeyed together, each step brought them closer to the fulfillment of the promise they had made. It was not just a commitment to love, but to live fully, to embrace the highs and lows of existence with open arms. They were not afraid of the challenges that came their way because they knew they were not alone. Together they found strength in one another, an unspoken understanding that their connection was indestructible. Time was no longer a barrier but a companion, walking beside them as they explored the world with hearts wide open. They cherished the small moments, the quiet conversations, the shared laughter, the simple touches that carried so much weight. These were the foundations of forever. The everyday acts of love and care that built a life brick by brick. In their union, they discovered that love was not just an emotion but a force, one that could withstand the tests of time and space. The promise of forever was not just about what they had in the present, but about all the things they had yet to experience. It was about the future that awaited them, with all its uncertainties and joys. They had dreams that soared higher than the stars, ambitions that reached beyond the sky. Together they planned a life filled with adventures, exploring unknown lands and seeking wisdom in places others had forgotten. The promise was a pledge not only to one another, but to the world itself. They would leave their mark on it, creating a legacy of love that would ripple through time. The years ahead were not daunting, but thrilling. Every day was a new opportunity to fulfill the promise they had made. Even as they grew older, they remained as youthful in their hearts as they had been when they first met. Forever, to them, was not an abstract concept, but a living, breathing reality, something they built and nurtured together. Through the seasons of life, the promise of forever endured. There were moments of doubt, times when the world seemed too heavy to bear, but they never let go of each other's hands. They had learned that love was not about perfection, but about perseverance. It was about standing together when the storm clouds gathered and finding solace in each other's presence. They had weathered many storms, both external and internal, but their bond had only grown stronger. The promise of forever was a testament to their resilience, a celebration of their commitment to each other, and in the quiet moments, when the world fell away, they would reflect on how far they had come. They had built a life that was uniquely theirs, one filled with laughter, tears, joy, and sorrow. It was a life well lived, and they knew that the promise of forever was not just about the destination, but the journey they had shared. As they stood together, watching the sun set over the horizon, they realized that forever was not about waiting for some distant moment in the future. It was about the here and now, about living fully in the present. They had learned that the true beauty of forever was found in the small, everyday moments that made life worth living. It was in the way they held each other's hand, in the way they spoke with kindness and compassion, in the way they had built a life filled with love. They had promised forever, not just as a distant goal, but as a state of being, a continuous unfolding of love that would never cease. Their hearts beat in harmony, synchronized with the rhythms of the universe. In that moment, they knew that they were exactly where they were meant to be, and forever had already begun. Even as time marched on, they continued to fulfill their promise. The world changed around them, and they adapted to those changes, but their love remained constant. It was a force that transcended all things, unyielding in its power. They had created a life together, one filled with memories that would last beyond their time on earth. Their love had become a beacon, shining brightly for others to see. It was a love that inspired, that reminded people of the beauty of commitment and the power of connection. They had shown that forever was not a fleeting dream, but a tangible reality that could be lived out every day. Their love was a testament to the enduring power of the promise they had made to one another. It was a legacy that would continue long after they were gone, passed down through generations, reminding the world of what true love looked like. As they grew older, the weight of the years did not dampen the vibrancy of their love. If anything, it only made it more beautiful, more precious. They had learned that true love does not fade with time, but only grows deeper, more profound. The promise of forever was not about the absence of challenges or hardships, but about the willingness to face them together. They had seen the highs and lows of life, and through it all, their love had been the constant thread that held them together. They had built a foundation of trust, respect, and understanding, one that could withstand any storm. And as they looked back on their lives, they were filled with gratitude for all the moments they had shared, for all the times they had chosen to love each other, no matter the circumstances. In the final moments of their lives, they knew that the promise of forever had been fulfilled. It was not a promise that ended with their physical bodies, but one that would continue on in the hearts of those they had touched. Their love had transcended time, leaving behind a legacy that would never be forgotten. They had built a life together, a life that had been rich with meaning and purpose. And as they took their final breaths, they smiled, knowing that they had lived fully, that they had honored their promise to each other. Forever had been more than just a concept to them. It had been a reality, one they had lived every day together. And so, the promise of forever lived on, passed down through the generations, carried on the winds of time. It was a promise that spoke of love's enduring power, of the way it could transcend all things, even time and death. The love they had shared was a beacon for those who came after them, a reminder that true love was not fleeting but eternal. It was a promise that would never fade, never die, but would continue to inspire, to uplift, to bring hope to all who believed in its power. Forever they had promised, and forever they had lived. In the end, that was all that mattered.